Hello, beautiful people. Here's a short movement ritual to recenter. Coming into a seated position, you may want to sit on a pillow or blanket. Be comfortable so you're not feeling you're gripping in your hips or you feel somehow discomfort in your lower back or have to really muscle your way through into an upright position. Sit with ease and freedom of breath. And then for a moment, close your eyes, breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth. Breathing in and out. And as you breathe in, I think your ribcage expands three-dimensionally, front, side, back, especially in the armpit area. And as you breathe out, you soften, and at the same time, your spine rises up on your exhalation. Inhale, you expand, and exhale, you soften and you become taller. Inhale, ribcage is wide open, front, side, back. And as you exhale out through the mouth, you soften and you become taller through the crown of your head. And you may want to keep your eyes closed and then just move your spine, move your head, move your neck, and move within your own fascial body suit. Think of how tissues, organs glide and open. Some areas may feel a little denser, and you may want to pause in these areas and move in and out of them gently, not tension stretching it, but rather nudging your awareness and your movements into these areas. Just slow wherever it may be, and then come back to center. Find your way onto all fours and move your pelvis, shift it from side to side, again exploring any areas that may feel they need a little softening, a little attention, a visit, an opening. Moving back onto all fours, the hands, the fingers facing forward, wrist creases forward, and you extend your elbows softly. The spine is long and the back of the head, the space between your shoulder blades, the back of your sacrum are in one line. And then tuck your toes under, hook the big toe in, stretch it away from the other toes. And then shift your weight back, spine remains long. And if you feel like your pelvis starts to tilt back, don't go any further. We want to open the pelvic floor here in the back. And oftentimes, if the pelvic floor is tight or the deep external hip rotators, then your pelvis wants to go into this position quite early, but it would avoid the opening. So keep the sit bones lifting as you shift back. So shifting back with a long spine, sit bones by sense lifting behind you, and then come back forward. Inhale, shift back, and then come back forward. Untuck the toes, lift your feet off the floor, and then press them into the mat so that your knees want to lift off the mat. Stay here, fill the space between your shoulder blades, breathe three-dimensionally into your rib cage, and then lower down. Tilt your pelvis back, pubic bone to navel, navel to sternum, and then the head is relaxed. Take an inhale here into your back body. And then with your exhalation, shift back into a cat pose. Inhale into the back body again. And then with the next exhalation, shift your pelvis towards the left. Your hands turn to the right. Inhale. Keep the tilt of your pelvis back. And then exhale, come back to center. Inhale. And exhale, keep the pubic bone lifting. Inhale into the side and back body, the fingertips point to the left. And then exhale, come back to center. And inhale, center your spine. Pelvis comes into a centered position, spine moves into a centered position and head. And then come back onto all fours. Tuck your toes under and move into a downward facing dog. And that may be for you keeping the knees deeply bent to comfortably floating the spine up in length. And walk the back of your legs, breathing evenly. And move your feet slightly back so you can roll into a plank position. Pull the hands isometrically apart. Feel free to drop the knees. I rather have you being in alignment than struggling through here. You get way more out of it if you're aligned. Now everybody dropping knees. Shift back, keep the toes tucked. Inhale, sit bones lift up. Now curl the pelvis again, tailbone to pubic bone to navel, navel to sternum, and you unfurl into your kneeling plank position. Shift back again. Inhale, long spine, sit bones wide. Exhale, curl from the pelvis, pubic bone towards the sternum. Unfurl the wave in the front. The collarbones are wide, the hands pull apart. Untuck your toes. Turn the hands slightly in. Pull the hands slightly apart. And the back of the head stays in line with the back of your sacrum, and the space between your shoulder blades is filled. Now, inhale, lower, bend the elbows. Exhale, push back up. Keep the head up so you're looking past your mat. Inhale, elbows wide. Exhale into a triceps push-up. One more. Inhale and exhale. Center the hands again, fingertips point forward, tuck the toes, spread the little toes away from the big toe, and then come back into your downward facing dog. Walk your dog a little bit and make your dog pose a little longer. We're moving from the center again, meaning think of the adductors, the inner thighs now. They initiate a little this movement of the pelvis rolling forward, pubic bone lifts, sternum long, collarbones wide, and then bring your knees down, untuck the toes, shift back, and we add a small wave. So spine centered, and now curl the pelvis, rolling forward into a kneeling plank. And from here, move onto your forearms. The elbows are a little bit wider than your shoulders. You can interlace your fingers. And now reach the tailbone back as you twist your pelvis from side to side. And this also glides the tissues alongside your hips, pushing the elbows strongly into the floor, filling the space between your shoulder blades. So pushing the space up, protracting, or as a way of protracting your shoulder blades is more than a protraction, and rolling from side to side, thinking you're moving your deep front line from side to side. Breathing evenly. And come to center. Lower your pelvis down. Take your fingers apart and come into a baby cobra. Reach your left leg away from you and slightly up, and lower it down. And then again, reach your right leg away from you and lift it up and lower it down. Now pull the elbows slightly away from one another. Lift the heart. Take an inhale, a little cobra here. And exhale, lower down. Take your hands to the side. Do some spider fingers here and begin to roll your pelvis lower into center. And now lift yourself up to one side, looking over your shoulder. Center, looking over your left shoulder or whatever shoulder you're at. Come back to center. Pubic bone slightly draws down towards the mat. As you push into one hand, look over that same side shoulder and lift. Breathe into that open lung and come back to center. Wiggle your hips into the floor. Take your hands next to your chest and then push yourself up and forward if you like. So lifting up, allowing your pelvis, the front of the pelvis, to fall into the tissues. Pubic bone slightly lifts, tailbone long, and you may want to roll from side to side again. Gentle movement. Obviously, you can also stay in your baby cobra in the lower variation. Is none better than the other, whatever feels comfortable for you. I love this just to open the tissues in the front of my body. You can also bend the elbows slightly and then lower down slowly. Bring your toes underneath. Lift the skin behind your pubic bone. Reach from the crown of the head, the chin slightly tucked in, still a mandarin between your chin and your throat. And then move into a kneeling plank again and shift yourself away and up into a downward facing dog, softly making yourself comfortable again. I like to keep the knees bent to allow my spine to be long and spacious. And then wander your feet forward towards your hands. Keep your belly resting on your thighs. Drop your head, turn it from side to side. And slowly roll up into a standing position. Now lift your pubic bone, lift your heart, take your arms into a V shape, your hands spread wide, your fingers spread, tension the front of your body, and then detension, let go, double knee bend. And again, lift your heart, V shape of the arms, and double knee bend. Pubic bone lifts, sternum lifts, neck is long, and one more, pubic bone, sternum, a little chin tuck, even though you bring the head back, and then double knee bend. And then come to stillness here. Take your hands and your arms up. Move into a plie or grand plie, finding your way down into a seated position again. Take your feet in front of you. You may want to use support underneath your knees into a diamond shape position. And then here you linger yourself forward into a forward fold. You can round your spine, giving your superficial back line a lot of space and length. And just moving as far down as it's comfortable for you. And shifting from side to side, moving within the pose. Roll back up. Take your feet closer towards you. Take your hands behind you. And then push your hands into the floor, collarbones wide. Allow the knees to fall to the side. And then lift the front of your sternum, lift your pelvis. Take a breath here and then lower down. Come back to seated. Take your hands behind you. Knees fall to the side. You can use the distance of your choice. Collarbones wide and lift your pelvis up. If you like, you can bring your head up and back. Take an inhale here and then lower down. Wonderful. Come back into a seated position. Take a moment here to center yourself again and take your feet forward, and we'll do a little hydrating movement for the front of the hips. So moving your knees from side to side, and you can also try to keep your pelvis as still as possible and just move your legs. Just a little change of tension here. You might feel that in the back of the legs. And now move the pelvis with it again, letting the whole pelvis tilt to one and the other side. Come back to center. Come to a seated position that is comfortable for you. And we finish with a moment of breathing evenly through the nose, in and out. Practicing the art of centering, mind, body, and breath. And that doesn't have to be a very long practice of centering. It can be very short and maybe just sprinkled into your day. Notice your breath traveling through the nose into your body, moving the body, the cells, the bones, gliding fascial tissues. And then come back into the space you're in. Now open your eyes. Thank you for joining me for this recentering practice, connecting to your deep front line, and open your body in the front and in the back.